Welcome to Sport Compact Cars Street Car Challenge. I'm your host, your Uncle Joe Benson. It's the mother of all performance tests. Join us as 10 of America's baddest of bad boy performance cars, selected by the readers of Sport Compact Car, compete to see who gets crowned the ultimate street car. Here's our lineup. A Ferrari F3 Modena, a turbocharged rotary-powered Datsun 510, a turbocharged Nissan Sentra SE, a twin-charged Toyota MR2, the mighty Skyline GTR, a supercharged Acura Integra Type R, a twin-engine Hyundai Tiburon that runs on methanol, a streetwise Nissan twin-turbo 300ZX, a Mustang 5.0, and a Toyota Supra Turbo rounding out the field. The challenges, the CC Tuner Show. The overall appearance of the cars will be judged by our panel of experts. The Jackson Racing Guru panel. Our panel of engineers poked, prodded, admired, and critiqued every aspect of these cars for build quality. Call it our version of Revenge of the Nerds. And we dyno tested for peak power delivery, and emissions. Woo! The Grandma test. With the intoxicating smell of Vicks Vapo Rub to arouse our curiosity, Grandma gets into the act to rank the comfort.
Ooh, let's watch Groundhog Day.
Does big horsepower mean bad fuel mileage? We'll find out in our mileage test. A drivability test. All the cars are street legal. Off to the quarter mile for some full throttle fun. We'll record the 0 to 60 times too. And it better stop as fast as it looks. Then it's off to Willow Springs International for the road course, where handling will be absolutely critical. Next, it's off to the Pirelli skid pad and the gross display of horsepower tests. So tighten up your lap belt and slam it into gear. This is Sport Compact Car's Ultimate Street Car Challenge. The Ultimate Street Car Challenge is sponsored in part by Jackson Racing, the leading source of performance parts and accessories. When you're thinking of performance, go to jacksonracing.com for all your goodies. And by Pirelli. Power is nothing without control. See the entire P0 collection at your nearest Pirelli dealer. And by CC Tuner, your doorway to the world of compact car tuning online. Look to cctuner.com for daily specials and discounts on tires to performance enhancers. Tune them well, drive them fast. cctuner.com. Let's begin the tests. Let's go to our car show judges.
What we're looking for is overall appearance of the vehicle, and the two we're looking at is balance and linearity. How well the car is put together, how the vehicle strikes you when you look at it, especially the real detail things that are not visible on a stock vehicle.
I wonder if our other judges agree with Kelvin's assessment.
The engine needs to be detailed, the interior needs to be detailed, everything. I mean, all the way from the ground up.
We have to look at paint and metal, any areas in suspension, overall chassis, engine appearance, any upgrades there, interior. The details attention are areas and points that we're looking at.
According to our judges, that screaming orange 510 maximum 100 points for presentation. And by the look of these cars, this should get interesting. Now, let's meet some of the owners.
We put the Jackson supercharger on it. We're running about 9.5 pounds of boost. It should be about 10 pounds, 10 and a half, but we've poured it and polished the intake and poured it out the which has made it for better airflow. Also, we've adjusted the cam timing, which has also increased the volumetric efficiency of the engine.
Basically, I put a Japanese spec higher compression supercharged block in it. It's a little bit stronger. It has piston oilers. It's 8.9 to 1 compression opposed to 8.5, which comes stock in the car. It has a stock flywheel, which has been balanced. It has a custom ACT clutch, and basically went through the alignment and dialed in as much negative camber as I could all the way around and set that up.
Got gas mileage?
Unbelievable.
So we fill the tanks and then seal the filler necks to keep it legit.
The good fuel. We got her filled up. 5 gallons. Good to go.
And in our 87-mile test through some harrowing mountain roads, we easily uncover the fuel. Out of the editor's scorts, looks like the MR2, Supra, and F360 get the top 3 spots. The MR2 gets an impressive 36.1 miles per gallon. And our methanol twin-engine Tiburon, on the other hand, sucked. Did he really think methanol is the future? No ultimate street car challenge would be complete without a drivability test. No trailer. But some of the cars have problems.
We were doing the low-speed drivability test. It wasn't too low speed. In the process, blew the belts off it. The serpentine belt wrapped around the back side of the crankshaft and broke the oil seal on the front side of the car. So we're going to try and change it so we can keep racing.
Well, Geoff's Mustang finally gets back on the road to nab the number 3 position, but the clear winner is the Ferrari. Let's meet some more car owners.
To be in the Hyundai business, so we built the car for that. It weighs about the same as a stock Tiburon because we've taken a lot of stuff out of it, and then of course we've added in an engine. They're identical. They're both Hyundai 2.0 liter Tiburon engines. They're both turbocharged. It's a front powertrain out of another Hyundai in the back. So 2 powertrains identical, 600 horsepower, you know, all-wheel drive.
This is the 5th rendition of the motor that this car has seen. Bored out, 20 over, it has June pistons, ported and polished the heads, 1 millimeter larger stainless steel valves. Crank has had some work done to it, block has been metal axed. Up front we have the 4-piston caliper, the large brake package, 13.125 diameter cross-drilled vented rotors. It should run fairly well on the track if I can drive it. That's my biggest concern, is my driving abilities, because I know the car will take it.
This is it's an 88 roller block, 302 bored 30. Displaces 306 cubic inches. As for me being selected for being out here, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's cool because it's an import magazine. I have an American car, and of all things, it's a Mustang. Most of the import guys don't like them. The other side is, you know, they're probably going to want to try and embarrass me a little bit. Maybe that's part of the reason why people voted for me. You know, they want to see me get my tail whooped. So even though it is an American car, they still asked me to come out here. So it has to say a little bit of something. Even if it is to embarrass me, I'm still here.
Let's get on the dyno. The dyno is a true test of performance. It takes no prisoners. We're doing 2 poles for peak power and power delivery. And despite the editor's attempts, flexible engines, brute power still rules the day.
Yeah, this is the McMullen Argus Tech Center. We share it with all our magazines. Doing a bunch of work in here all the time. We're doing our dyno testing, we're doing our emissions testing, and we're doing our engineering evaluation. Dyno testing is pretty obvious. We see how much horsepower it's got. But we also are giving it a score based on its power delivery. So instead of just peak power, we also give it a score on how much power it gives over a power band. So something that's really peaky is going to go to something that's got a lot of torque across the whole band. In between runs, we give them 2 runs each in case they want to change something or the first one didn't go so well. In between runs, we stick a probe up the tailpipe and sniff it. So, the guy comes in here and makes 600 horsepower, he's going to have a hard time on the emissions test. So, yeah, there's a counter test to everything. And then the engineering test, we just have a bunch of nerds that look over the car and check it out and score it completely arbitrarily. And, we add it all up in the end, so it'll be good. This one made 314 horsepower at the wheels, which is pretty impressive considering it's a 1.6 liter engine. It's supercharged and turbocharged. It's supercharged at low RPM, then that flips off and the turbo takes over, but it's flipping off too. It's got a big lag in the middle of it. So he's going to try a different gear and see if it'll work a little bit better.
They pulled in and made their runs. They didn't have to tune the car on the dyno. The front engine is making approximately 309 horsepower. The rear engine was making about 317 for a combination of 630 horsepower in a Hyundai Tiburon. In fact, they only made one of their available 3 runs and were happy with it and drove back off and they were done. 300Zs really are nice cars. They're real heavy duty and hit a tremendous amount of horsepower. And my understanding is that it handles very, very well. I think it is a little odd having a Mustang in this particular crowd. I think it's actually really neat. It shows that there's a lot of diversity and that car people are car people, that we don't have to be, I'm a Honda guy so I don't like Mustangs, Mustang guy so I don't like imports. The street rodding is street rodding. I mean, we're actually at a street rod shop full of 32s and Model A's, and there's a Biscayne in there. You know, it's all the same stuff. It's just a different approach. And I mean, the Mustang came out here today and impressed. He made more horsepower than anybody. The 2 combined motors of the Hyundai, and it's a very, very clean, nicely done car.
I mean, it's a stock car more or less, so the horsepower was good. I think we made about 340 to the wheel. So nothing to complain about. Very smooth power delivery, so it's very consistent.
I think the curriculum they put together is very clear. They're testing every aspect of the vehicle, from chassis dynamics to powertrain to design, interior, exterior design. So I think it's a well good program they put together.
The Datsun 510 made 318 horsepower, which, believe it or not, is a lot less than he expected. He's got a big misfire problem. It's only making 5 pounds of boost. So that's a little bit of a disappointment. .441, he lost a bunch. Whatever he did was not good. So 508 or 509, I think, is the peak we're sticking with. They raised the boost and leaned it out a little bit, and apparently it didn't like it at all. They set it back the way it was for the quarter mile, huh? Horsepower test, we follow right up with emissions test. You might make a ton of power, but if you lose here, this test is worth every bit as much as the peak power is. So have an old machine because it's at least reliable. We're not doing a normal test that they run in California or anything. We're just testing hydrocarbons and carbon monoxide at idle and 2,500 RPM, and then we add up the values for hydrocarbon and carbon monoxide in both zones. So we have 4 data points. We add them up and score everybody based on that. It'll counteract your good big horsepower score. So this forces you to have a well-rounded car.
Peak power goes to the Hyundai Tiburon that pumps out a healthy 627 horsepower to the wheels. Which wheels? Front or rear? The Mustang makes 534 horsepower and a respectable 509. The Tiburon gets the first spot in power delivery and a perfect 100 points, followed by the Mustang and 300ZX. In the emissions department, the Ferrari blows the cleanest, followed by the Sentra and Tiburon. Let's meet some more car owners.
One of Japan's nastiest bad boys. It's a twin-turbo all-wheel drive car. It's got 4-wheel steering, depending on how fast you're going. It's an extremely robust motor, pretty hard to brake actually. The right-hand drive was a little interesting at first. Once I got into the car, I found that it honestly took about 30-45 minutes to get accustomed to. Ahead and upgraded the turbos to HKS GT2530 twin ball bearing turbo kit. The turbo kit that I got would bolt right onto the stock cast manifold, but I wanted to go a little harder core, so I went and got the stainless HKS. There really is no better way to be unique and fast at the same time than with one of these.
This is pretty much a very stock Ferrari 360 out. The only thing I really did to it is wheels and tires for better grip. The engine is basically a stock Ferrari 360 Modena V8. It is a 3.6 liter displacement. It has a very nice power delivery. It's very smooth. What I did was I added the carbon fiber air cleaners on top and also the carbon fiber engine bay. What I did is I want to add a little bit of color interior, so I purchased a set of sparkle seats from Italy. These are carbon fiber seats, so they weigh considerably less than the stock seats. I had them rear upholstered in yellow Alcantara, which is a synthetic suede, and the same color as the vehicle. And I accented the seats with the Ferrari Daytona stripes, which is kind of the famous Ferrari back in the early 1970s.
Next up, the Jackson Racing Guru panel. There's no quicker way to discredit your work than to show it to an engineer. With help from AEM and Road Race Engineering, our able-bodied editors look over these cars with a fine-tooth comb.
Be a close, tight fight all the way to the very end. The automotive aftermarket is getting so diverse that there's room for absolutely everything. There's room for any kind of car. The cars aren't just capable of doing one thing. It's not just a drag race. It's not just a road race. It's not just a car show. These cars have to be well-rounded and they have to do everything really well.
The top 3 spots go to the Datsun 510, Mustang, and Sentra. As one editor says, the 510 has the cleanest engine compartment he's ever seen. For one of the most important tests of all, we got Granny a day pass from the retirement home.
I'm the grandma ride quality control tester. Nice, comfortable ride, no bouncing, just overall quality of the ride and how comfortable it is. I want to be able to take a nap. There's my ride. I have to go right now. I need more diapers. Don't yell at Grandma. Don't yell at Grandma. I'm working on it. Slow down. Don't drive fast.
I'm going to show Granny what it's like to ride in a fast car in the 90s.
We'll see you later, fellas. Bye.
Did he say her 90s?
Is the air con here? Does it work? Yes. Oh, that's nice. Hi, honey. How many pounds of boost do you run, dear? About 14. Well, show Grandma what 14 pounds feels like. I like 14 pounds. Grandma's way part. I hope the hairs don't bother you. Ooh, is that me? I'm sorry, dear. That's the liquor store Grandma gets her hooch. Ooh, is that Grandma again? I'm sorry, dear. We had crab dip last night. Another Grandma. Come on now. Edna, Kelly, go to hell. Oh, Lord. Oh, good Lord. What are the turbos you're running on this thing? On HI. This is a fast car. You want to go fast or you want to suck? That's a lot faster. Feel it? What's all that noise? Eat those donuts? Oh, boy. What's all this stuff do? Is this the radio? Can I listen to the radio? What's this thing do? Do you play in here with monkey bars? Grandma needs to see what happens when the needle goes over here. Oh boy! Oh boy! Why does it do that? Oh, that kind of rattled Grandma's bowel. What do those big letters mean? Those are big. This is fast. I think that messed up Grandma's hair a little. Is this your car or father's? Woo! I think Grandma just let loose with one. See that, huh? You can't help but look, can you? See that? Why do I feel like I'm on the wrong side? This is just wrong. Oh, Lord! You watch movies often in this? Grandma cracks a lot more people in the jaw at the retirement home after. Oh, let's watch Groundhog Day. Grandma likes monkeys. Oh, was that Grandma? Was that you? I don't know. Oh, that was Dad. Grandma. That wasn't Grandma.
How'd Grandma rank our cars? Well, she clearly likes the company Sentra and the Supra 360.
Come on, here we go. Make it funky.
After one day of testing, let's see how it stands. It's way too early to call, but the Tiburon leads the field, followed by the Ferrari and the Datsun 510. Zero to 60 and the standing quarter mile. Dawn breaks early over the California desert, and for the most ambitious competitors, it was a very short night. But be warned, this raceway is not the place to mend.
I think it'll be pretty strong in the quarter mile. It's got traction. It's got, a lot of horsepower for a light car.
Each competitor gets 2 runs to prove who is king. Facing high altitude and hot temperatures, the track is not easy to master. Remember, the editors are calculating 0 to 60 times simultaneously.
15.2. Were you lean or rich? I was at 12.9, so I turned this up a little bit more. Good job anyway, man. I'll get a 12 next time. Still, shit. So turn up boost more, and hopefully that'll do it. I want to try to do at least a 12.8, about 112. So we'll see what happens. Best time so far is about 12.9. That was when I had a lot less horsepower, so that's why I'm kind of wondering what's going on. So I'll get it.
MR2 gets off to a clean start, but it needs the extra run to pull off a competitive ET.
Actually, I wasn't too happy. It was bogging a little bit, so I was going to stay on the gas and try not to lose any boost between shifts. So 13.3, which is pretty sad for me. So.
Awesome. That's cool on street tires. That's badass.
The thing was scooting. He's still spinning tires about 300-400 feet out.
Well, man, the thing ran at 10.9. More power to him.
He was making some power. That thing was flying. It's gonna be hard to beat him.
10 seconds. That's pretty good.
Got the nerves, man. I
had one too many Red Bulls for breakfast and bounced it off the rev limiter. Picked up the miles per hour, so try. A little better. Felt like in fourth gear though, started spinning. RPMs jumped up, miles jumped up, but I wasn't going any faster.
Shit, thing ran like crap, man. Spun a little too much, I think. Might change the air pressure a little bit. I got to do a longer burnout, so it spun way too much when I took off. Second gear, spun a little bit the first part of third, so we'll get it figured out. As soon as I topped the first gear, pulled second, it just started spinning the tires. I tried to pedal it a little bit. I guess it didn't work out too well.
I want to top that time bad. 12.5. Should be able to. Better, but not good enough. Oh, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. God, kicked his ass.
You just wanted to beat that Mustang, huh?
Well, I was really hoping for 11s. So hoping for 11s. Never run 11 in my life, and the car felt great. Hauled ass. I love this car. I love this car. Best. You know, it just felt like a good run. I knew I had a good run. Basically, when I left the line, at the end of second, I was pretty sure the Mustang was in the bag. Since this car doesn't have a clutch, it's a F1 transmission. I can launch a couple of ways, either full throttle or half throttle and roll it in there. So my first launch, I went on half throttle and then full throttle all the way through, and it did okay. It did, I think, 13.3.
Terrible start. Just got to learn to walk this off the line. It's just really I've got the independent rear, so I don't get very good traction. So learning my lesson.
Tod launches cleanly. Now for Manny's Supra. He's facing some stiff competition, but has the horsepower to back it up. Well, the launch doesn't look good, but the shifts are smooth.
Yeah, it was pretty good, just a little slippery off the line, but after that it just falls out. Do a next run with high boost. That was a low boost run, so I can hook it up with the high boost run next run and see what it'll do.
Well, the Supra didn't make the top 3. But here you have it. The Tiburon clearly takes the #1 spot with a 3 to 60 time and a 10-second quarter-mile pass. Now let's meet more of the guys.
It's a rotary-powered Datsun 510, 1972 vintage. Everything pretty much has been reworked. A lot of the parts had to be developed or just custom made because you can't buy these parts. Yeah, it's a second-gen motor. It's actually pretty old. It's been upgraded with low compression rotors. Internally, it's pretty much stock. I've got a street port that was done to it. It's intercooled. I'm running the Motec fuel injection system on it right now. Basically, it's a Garrett. It's a hybrid turbocharger that was custom made. It's kind of an Indy-style competition turbocharger. It's got enough airflow for about 500 horsepower.
It's turbocharged, and we've gone through the suspension and brake system. Originally, this was a 2-liter non-turbocharged engine, and in Japan and other markets, there's a turbocharged version available, so we use quite a lot of components, Japanese and European cars, to put it together. It's got Geoff technology cams in it, forged pistons, it's been ported and polished, and then Garrett supplied a special turbocharger for it as well.
The hood is a stock hood, but I laid out the holes for it. Just get a little bit more cooling going. The front end is a top secret unit. It's a lot of the air into the intercooler, so there's a big opening. It's functional. Cooling for the brakes is there. It's a T66 turbo and HKS blow-off valve. Paxton supercharger, complete fuel system redone, HKS rail, RC engineering injectors. Suspension system is custom built. It's a coilover setup, right head adjustable. It uses Ibach springs, Bilstein sleeves, KYB shocks.
60-0 braking.
On his braking run, remind him he actually has to stop.
If fast, you better stop fast. Here's the braking results. The Integra Type R stops in just over 117 feet thanks to AEM cross-drilled rotors and pads. It's followed by the Supra and Ferrari. The Pirelli skid pad test. Mark Allen's Type R is at home on the skid pad. Pulling a lateral G 200-foot skid pad is a monumental task, but 4 of our USCC entries do it with ease, thanks to the sure-footedness of Dave Coleman and some killer suspension. With its vintage suspension, the 510 can be hairy in tight situations, but it can be coaxed to do some incredible things. The 510 surprises everyone with a 1.092 lateral G. Excellent. The Ferrari, of course, is a no-brainer. Once Reese Millen gets the hang of it. Each competitor is given the opportunity to drive, but most Ask Engineering editor Dave Coleman do the honors. It might look simple, but that white line is a monster to master. As the editors expected, the Ferrari easily pulls more than the lateral G on the skid pad. And the Supra pulls over a lateral G. Here's the results. The 510 is the clear winner here. Now we're off to the road course. Just the basic streets of Willow Course is very tight. It's always playing in at Willow Springs as well. The heat, the wind, and the dust. Let's see how our guys do.
It's been probably about 5 or 6 years since I've been here, so relearning has been an experience.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. The car ain't. There's little corners that wanted to nosedive a lot, but it's a lot of fun.
Champion driver Reese Millen joins us now. I'd say most of the entries are happy to have him drive.
What can I say? The guy drives race cars for a living.
The staff of SCC laid out an unbelievably tight course.
Tell me how it was handling.
Not action on the rear, so we're lowering the tire pressure about 5 pounds.
Let's see Reese take it out again for a final lap. I think he put the hammer down this time. Now we're turning the Z loose. This Z is powered by a twin-turbo V6 with a list of awesome engine modifications like June forged pistons, crawler rods, S-crankshaft, and massaged heads. This was Nissan's pride and joy, and rightfully so.
The object of our car is that it's a crossover. It can do drag racing. It's not the fastest, but it's competitive. It does autocross. It's one of the fastest. It can do road courses. It can do just anything. You can drive it. It's got air conditioning, power steering, full sound system, but you can modify it from each one of the different features. Small changes and a little bit of tuning in between events, and you can go from one to the other.
We love watching old school cars at play. Doesn't look like it's the quickest today. 510 sure is fun. Even a little off-course excursion doesn't seem to faze this dependable street machine.
It's a twin-engine Hyundai Tiburon. It has a motor in the front and another motor in the back. They run separate drivetrains and separate transmissions. They've been converted to run on pure alcohol. They're turbocharged and run about 15 pounds of boost, and they run nitrous.
Next up, Mr. 2. Each entry is given 2 complete laps to prove their worth.
I figured it'd be really hard, really tough. I'd be scared, but once you get through that first lap, it's not that bad. I was hitting 100 just before the bend, and I didn't want to go too fast in the corner, so I just let off. No brakes, just no gas. So it's a lot of fun, though.
Good run, Geoff.
Really exceptionally handling car. I mean, I really enjoyed driving it. Unfortunately, we ran it out of brakes. It is a big, heavy car, and this is a short, tight track that really puts a premium on low-speed handling and brakes. And we pretty much used up the brakes after that. So pedal went to the floor, and I don't want to risk hurting the car, so brought it in.
This right-hand drive is amazingly agile, as we're learning here. Chinese Supra turns a minute 6 lap time, just ahead of the Integra. And the results are in. The Modena blazed the course in 1 minute 1 second. The Supra and Integra on its heels.
Really, the whole idea is to get 10 great cars, see what different ways people have set things up to be great. Is it a matter of money? Is it a matter of hardware? What are the differences really, and how do those things sort out? That. And it's been really a lot of fun to see.
The car is well within the middle of the pack and all the events, so I'm happy.
Everybody took care of us real well, and just tired and ready to go home.
It's been a fun day. Hotter than all get out. I guess that's the desert, though.
I know it's a lot of events to jam into 2 days and a lot of cars to get done, so I think overall it's
not bad.
Pretty good job. Yeah, came 3,000 miles to do this. So.
And I have to say, the 510 is an extremely pimp car. You know, you barely ever see them. I mean, I'm lucky to see one 510 in a month's time, and to see one with a crazy swap like this one's got with the rotary and just the cleanliness and the overall condition is just it's a privilege to be able to see.
The Ferrari has definitely been an eye catcher. That and the Skyline. Definitely some exotic cars here. MR2, supercharged, turbocharged, nitrous. I mean, you guys did some work. That twin engine Hyundai is another one. I mean, that's an engineering marvel.
Heads are, by and large, very good people. Everyone's getting along really well. The Mustang has had some problems today, and the Nissan guys are helping him change parts. There doesn't seem to be any animosity toward anybody in this entire thing, despite the competitive nature of the event.
Now comes the fun part, is the gross display of power.
A shameless flogging of machines, but lots of fun. For the entire staff of Sport Compact Car, from this smoky mosh pit, I'm your Uncle Joe Benson. Congratulations to the ultimate street car champion, James Chen, and that magnificent Ferrari Modena. And special thanks to our sponsors, Pirelli, Jackson Racing, and CC Tuning.